Rustiest catch is where I'm meant to be.
Welcome to Rustiest Catch.
Today we're going to do some magnet fishing. I wanted to go magnet fishing in a new location that I haven't been to before, so we're headed to Fernand Lake, named after the legendary Mr. Fernand, one of the first soldiers to be stationed at Fort Sherman in Coeur d'Alene. And I'm trying out a brand new magnet by Brute Magnetics. It's called a Battler 360. It's a 360-degree magnet with a 1,500-pound pole. I arrived at Fernand Lake and walked down to the docks with my gear. The first thing I noticed was a large amount of fishing line and lures hanging from an overhead power line. If this much stuff is hanging from a power line, imagine what's below this water. I kept snagging across lots of plants under the water, so I knew there had to be some lures in here to catch. And there it is, a lure. Nice little green guy with a hook. After a few more throws, I pulled up an old lid. It looked like just some fishing bait. Most of it had rusted away, but the top of the lid and its logo were in really good condition. I noticed some very old-looking font and colors that were used. It looked like a very classic design, possibly from the 1950s or 70s were my first guess. For some reason, this lid really intrigued me as to how long it had been sitting on the bottom of Fernand Lake. I decided to do some research on the internet, and I found the company based out of Washington State, Potski. If you fish, you probably know the name. They were founded in 1934. I contacted the company and told them what I had found and sent them a photo. The owner of the company contacted me back directly and said that they would send me some information on the history of their lid designs. A day later, the owner sent me some information on their lid design over the decades. As it turns out, it looks like this lid had been sleeping with the fish for a long time. At earliest, it was possibly from 1954. However, 1968 to 1976 is the only thing that they could find with this style of lid. Here's a price list from 1968 showing this lid design. This was a really cool find, and even more fun to track down the history of. And a huge shout out to Potskis for providing this information so quickly for this video. Thanks, guys.
I don't know if you can see on camera, but there are lots of plants in there.
After pulling up a few more small fish hooks, I decided to throw out further into a different area.
So you kind of got to read the water. Every lake, every river.
Upon pulling the rope back, it instantly became apparent I was stuck. There's nobody swimming out here to save the day. I was on my own. And the more I pulled and tried to maneuver the rope, I felt my heart sink, knowing I had just lost my brand new Brute Magnetics 360 Battler. But had it lost the battle? My next thought was maybe the rope was long enough I could bring my car down to the boat launch and try to pull it out.
Not on my new Battler 360. Oh, there we go.
But just as I unhooked the rope from the dock and gave it one more pull, something let loose and my magnet became unstuck. I quickly pulled it back in, my heart still pounding.
That's the kind of stuff that makes you a little more, whoo. I thought I was stuck for sure on that. That freaked me out. I don't know what that is, but I ain't throwing it over there again. You just don't know these waterways.
Not wanting to chance this lake anymore with my 360, I decided to head back to my favorite little post on Lake Coeur d'Alene, see what history my 360 could pull out in the same location as before. A few minutes later, and I was at my favorite history honeypot. I learned from the Museum of North Idaho that this specific location was the terminus of the Northern Pacific Railroad dock and the CDA lumber mill. I couldn't wait to see what this new Battler 360 would bring in.
Well, that was a fail. What did we get? Look at that. First real throw of the day. We got ourselves a rusty catch, a nail, ooh, I see a bunch of stuff on this one. It's a nice little area over there. Did we get, ooh, look at this. This is why I like 360 already. Looks like we got some iron ore. And then we got some kind of a nail. Well, that was really magnetic. Metal bolt. Ooh, look at this. Another haul. And that is why I like this area. Look at all this stuff. Another bolt. Oh, look at that. Oh, I love these. Square nail.
Every throw here brings something in, from nails, bolts, screws, all the things you'd expect to find in an area that was once a booming mill and railroad terminal. On my next toss, my magnet hung up on something, but the water was clear and I could see my magnet sitting on the bottom of the sand. After a few more pulls, I noticed the sand kick up. And out of a few inches of sediment,
Oh, are you kidding me?
came a railroad spike.
Oh, my goodness, guys. Another railroad spike buried. This thing literally sucked it out of the sand. I could see the silt in the sand like jump. And this thing literally was buried probably under a couple inches of sand in this lake. When the railroad came right down here and serviced all of the steam ferries, all the silver mines and stuff, bringing all the stuff in, bringing the stuff out. I'm gonna see if I can get some more in this area. Like the other part, I found another one of these. You actually saw this pulled out, and I actually found another half that looks like this that I have back at the Rustiest Catch, and we'll take a look at those and see if maybe I found the other half. We got something. Pulled it right out of the sand. You can see it. Look at this place. Look at that.
After a few throws, I pulled up these small, tiny objects I thought were possibly rivets. But after getting them back to the Rustiest Catch cabin and rinsing them off, I realized they were old buttons. But how old? And off of what? Being curious, of course, I took some photos and sent them over to the Museum of North Idaho. They had a button expert review them, and according to the expert, these are common riveted buttons used on the overalls of mill, railroad, steamboat, and farm workers from 1910 to 1940. Now, if that isn't a cool catch, I don't know what is. It clearly was two pieces of metal riveted together. If any of you recognize what this might be from, leave a comment below. I'd love to know. Wouldn't be a Rustiest catch without the bottle cap.
Oh my gosh, look at that. I was so excited that I didn't realize I got, guess what? The bottle cap. And there we go, this one. I don't know, but that's going in my collection, guys.
It's interesting to think about the different people who owned all this stuff long ago, to ultimately end up in a lake somehow, only for some funny-looking guy in a cowboy hat with a big magnet to drag it in over 100 years later and get excited about it. But life's strange that way, and so am I. At this point, my first camera battery had died, and I only had one camera left running. I decided to call it a day and go out with one more throw. And as luck would have it, the last pull of the day brought in another railroad spike.
Hey, at least I got one camera rolling, guys. I felt this. It felt almost like the magnet got stuck on something. It was pulling super hard. This was buried very deep. So it is in really good condition.
Call me crazy, but I love pulling these out of this lake because of what it means for North Idaho's railroad history. And I'm a big railroad fan if you couldn't tell already. Let's take a better look at these finds after I had a chance to take them back to the Rustiest Catch cabin, rinse them off, and get some good photos of them. Thanks for going on another adventure with me. Always remember, no matter what you find, from a bottle cap, fishing bait lid, bullet, or even a railroad spike, there's always some history you can find on it. If you enjoy these videos, subscribe and leave a like or a comment. And if you don't like them, leave a thumbs down and a comment also. I love to hear from everybody. If you'd like to start going on your own adventures magnet fishing, feel free to scan the QR code on your screen right now with your phone or click the link in the description below. You can save 10% on your order at Brute Magnetics and help support the work I do on this channel. I hope to see you again real soon. Now go and make today great.
Make today great. Saddle up and ride. Face what's ahead with the Lord by my side. Help your neighbor, don't wait, don't hesitate. Do what's good, stand tall.